right, guys, welcome to another episode of the Range Time Podcast. I am not Cisco.
I am not Isaiah.
And today we have a very interesting topic, something a little spicier in my opinion.
Yes.
Is Airsoft too expensive, or Airsoft is too expensive?
Yes, this is something that we get asked or gets talked about quite frequently, especially with higher end guns. The one video that I see it consistently, especially being compared to real firearms, is the CL Customs, the Clearance Light Customs 1022. For those of you guys that don't know, we do have a short up on the page where we show off a handcrafted, very limited edition gas blowback 1022.
As in, like, there's only there's only like 16 of those airsoft guns. 60. Or 60.
Yeah.
I got my numbers right. Got 60 of those airsoft guns produced, which, I mean, yeah, sounds like a big number, but if you really think about like airsoft and just manufacturing as a whole, 60 individual like pieces is actually quite a low number for manufacturers.
Oh no, for any type of product.
Yeah.
How many hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of airsofters are there in the world, right?
True.
And there's only 60 of these handcrafted guns. But before we get into that, guys, we do have the Independence Day mystery box that just dropped.
Yeah.
They are moving fast though, so if you want to hop on it, it's selling for $170.
It's the easiest
shipping.
Yeah, it's the easiest $170 you will literally ever spend. $170, and you don't believe us? Go onto our website right now, take a look at the listing, and take a look at that prize list.
Oh,
that is absolutely insane. You cannot tell me that prize is not absolutely fucking stacked, especially considering the lowest priced item that you could potentially win on that box is already more than the box.
Yeah, it's $175, I believe. So you're already getting a $5 savings on the base price, like the lowest retail priced item. But when we say there's so many more,
there's a lot
of the higher priced items on there, like the R15.
We got the AK Mark 46s. We got the BCM MCMR. We got the KWA Originals, Kalashnikov USA licensed AKs. We got a few LCTs. There's a lot.
Oh yeah, absolutely insane. So guys, hop on that as well. And during the premiere of this podcast, we are going to be doing double entries. So whenever it starts, it should start at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time to whenever it ends. Double entries. Okay?
Only for that time frame only. That's going to be into tomorrow, Thursday's shopping spree giveaway for $1,800.
$1,800. Absolutely crazy. But yeah, getting back into that clearance light gun, the main comment that I see on that video that has millions of views, it's $1,500 for an airsoft gun. I could buy like 10 real 1022s.
You guys know, I've said it before, and you know too, I fucking hate hearing that. So I mean, I understand what some people are saying, but like to an extent, I really hate hearing that. Yeah. Especially in our YouTube, or seeing that in our YouTube comments. I fucking hate being told that. It's like, oh, you spend this much on airsoft, you could buy a real gun with that. First of all, let's go ahead and take this for a moment, right? Let's take the CL 1022, right? You said there was only 60 that were manufactured, period, handcrafted.
Yes.
Right? Okay. For a real firearm, I mean, I don't know. Like, I feel like if there was only 60 of this real firearm, I feel like it would be even more expensive.
Oh, absolutely.
Right? Like, I feel like...
Oh, absolutely. This gun, with the detail and craftsmanship that was put into it, if this were a real firearm, this would easily be like a $3,000 to $5,000 airsoft. Not a real firearm, I'm sorry. Real firearm. Because it's all CNC aluminum, like everything on it, and it's like really good quality aluminum. And the stock itself was hand, I don't know, carved or like
it's shaped as wood, right?
Yeah, it's real wood.
Yeah.
Crafted. Yeah, no, it's absolutely
it is.
And it actually performs fantastically. Now, for airsoft, is that expensive?
Yes.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I feel like where there's a lot of things that we have to address, right? Is airsoft too expensive, or the fact that we're saying airsoft is too expensive. I feel like that can be the case a lot of the time.
Yeah.
But it depends really ultimately on what it is that like you're kind of looking for, right? Like,
oh yeah, for sure.
I mean, first and foremost, like, things are always going to be more expensive as time goes on, right? Inflation is always going to be a factor, no matter what. Even beyond airsoft, just anything. Yeah, like pricing overall is going to change year to year to year.
The cost of living it always goes up. Like the minimum wage for countries and stuff goes up, but the cost of materials and stuff will increase as well due to just the state of the world and
there's a shortage too.
Yeah, the availability of said materials or
Supply and
products.
demand, man.
Yeah, exactly. It's just the way that it works. So naturally, Airsoft will increase alongside everything. And it's not just Airsoft. Like,
yeah, Boss Man was even talking about it too, like that, because he loves like getting a lot of fast food, right?
Yep.
So he was saying like, the cost of like a jumbo jack was like way different back in the day.
Yeah.
Or even like McDonald's like cheeseburger, just the individual.
Do you know what a
cheeseburgers.
McGangbang is?
Yes.
Yeah, a McChicken and McDouble. For those of you guys that don't know, okay.
The newer generation.
Yeah, for the newer generation that don't know what a McGangbang is. A McGangbang, when I discovered the McGangbang back in 2009.
Bro, you all.
Yeah.
I discovered it in like 2012. A little
You
late.
act like that's such a big difference away, but it was $2 back then.
Yeah.
For
both
both.
of them.
This was my go-to. A McGangbang, a large fry, and a large sweet tea, and all that would have been under $5.
Do you remember when they used to do all-day breakfast?
I do.
That was honestly like the go, because I would always
Yeah.
get like the 2 sausage muffins and a sausage burrito.
Yeah, that's more expensive too now. I think that's like $5.50 for the 2.
Yeah.
When it used to be like 2 for 3 or 2 for 4.
Yeah,
it's gone up.
I mean, that just goes for like everything, right? And that applies to Airsoft too, right? Where think guns that might have been more affordable back in the day or back when we were playing have definitely upped in price.
Yes,
Like, and again, like if you're trying to get the exact same model that people used to get back then, there is a good chance that it could still be affordable, but there are a few brands that I will like say that, have definitely increased their pricing. Not just due to inflation, but for other reasons as well. I get maybe the supply, maybe again, something we don't know that they just really haven't announced. I will say that there are 2 people's credit that are saying Airsoft is too expensive. Recently, inflation has been really bad. Like, it's been a lot. Like,
the past couple of years, it's increased more than the projected inflation rate would have gone up. But we did deal with like a worldwide pandemic, and then we ran into supply issues, and then there was the delivering issues, international shipments and stuff.
Issues at the port too, man.
Yeah.
Like
everything, it was just a big cocktail of disaster in terms of any market, which does suck. Because when was it? I think last year, 2021 or 2022 is when I really got interested in trying to build my own computer. And I'm looking.
I think that was 2021.
Yeah, different prices and stuff.
Yeah.
And I was looking at a whole bunch of different videos. Be like, oh yeah, this exact graphics card retails for $300 something bucks. I'm like, okay, cool. That's within my budget. I'll get that. No, this exact graphics card is now $800, and it's still the model from 2019 or so.
It's not like it's an updated version. It's the exact same one, just more expensive now.
Which does suck. But it does come into effect. But I would say there were some companies where they had airsoft guns that were relatively affordable.
Yeah.
That have become more expensive even before the pandemic.
Yeah.
One airsoft gun that comes to mind is...
I think going to say it. I think I know what you're talking about.
Okay.
3, 2, 1, G&G.
Yeah.
G&G. The Common Machine line. Okay, when we were growing up, right, the G&G Common Machine line, bear in mind, this is years ago, right, was the go-to brand that you wanted, right? That was, again, the combination of affordability and high quality.
Yep.
You were getting, you may not be getting a full metal receiver, but you were getting a really, tough, and to this day, still known for its toughness, the really tough nonfiber polymer receiver, and it was solid, right? There was no issues there. You were getting a standard version 2 gearbox that was manufactured very, very well.
Yep.
There were some good quality parts, even the G&G green rubber bucking, that stuff. It's still people still clamor for that one today, and it's still a great gun. It was the base gun for many people getting into airsoft. Many techs started off working on their common machines. That was this was again the base rifle that you just went with that you stuck with for years, and I kind of went with that route too. A G&G was my first AR, even though it wasn't my first airsoft gun. It was my first AR that I ever had.
Same.
And I still play with it today. And components that are manufactured now are going to be compatible with it too, right? Obviously, depending on the part. Yep. But I will say there has been a pretty steep increase though in price. G&G gun, on machines, just a regular. We actually sold one earlier today. A CM16 Raider DS10, right? That's one of the short barrel ones.
Yeah.
Normally, I remember when I was shopping for airsoft way back in the day, right? In the early 2010s, you could get one of those guys for $160 to about $180, right?
Yeah, actually, that's pretty accurate. Around that time, the gun by itself with the magazine was around the $150 to $160, and with the battery and charger, and it was I think a 9.6.
It was a 9.6
and a standard charger,
basic wall charger.
Yeah, it went for about 180 to 190ish bucks. I do remember that.
Now we sold one early today. Regular retail price for one of those guys. Bear in mind, no battery, no charger.
Just
the exact same gun that's been manufactured for how many years since it came out.
Yeah,
exact same model. Retailed right now for $222. Yeah, it's
without the battery charger.
Without the battery charger.
Oh man,
$222. I mean, like at the end of the day, like and this is not knocking G&G, right? Of course not. Like at the end of the day, it is still a good gun, right? It's very, very well made. Completely like out of the box, like we're good to go, right? Charge the battery, insert your magazine, you're ready to start playing. But for $222, I can't help but feel like, you know, it's a little bit too much, really, for what it is that you are getting.
Well, see, with that in mind, yeah, like that is an item that has existed for a long time, and at the time was really affordable. But nowadays, there are other competitive guns that I feel even outperform the combat machine for still around that $150 to $180 price range, with or without a battery. Like the Core Series right here. This is the Lancer Tactical Gen 2 Core Series. So the Core Series, if you guys don't know, Lancer Tactical just released. These are basically the Gen 2s without the battery and charger that come with the package normally.
I know that sounds like you're getting less of a deal or less value when you're not getting the battery and charger, especially for my newer players, but you guys gotta keep in mind, and a lot of our older players probably know this as well, the battery and charger you get out of the box is never really meant to be like, you could use it as your go-to battery, but it's not like the highest quality battery that you could get out there, really.
That's valid. I mean, it is a 9.6 volt. The standard for when we started was 8.4.
Yeah, 8.4. And 9.6 was like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah, you were top tier.
I think I was getting like into that, like when I started playing, 8.4 was starting to be phased out.
Oh,
I remember a little bit about that when 8.4s were like pretty like the set standard. But I think by the time I started like getting deeper into it, 9.6 eventually just became the
standard. Which I did see that change in market as well. And no, I would say that is like what you said about it. It gets the gun performing, like you can use it, but is it optimizing the performance of your airsoft gun?
No, hell no.
No, not really.
Especially that charger. The charger you get, like for the most part, is not really a smart charger.
No, yeah, it's a basic charger.
Yeah.
But I mean, the fact that it, like there are, like the Lancer Tactical Gen 2 has been around since like 2015 or 2016, I think.
I think they were manufactured 2016, and then we didn't start getting them until 2017, if I remember correctly.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Something like that. And like considering even back then, we were, I would say, like between 2015 and 2017, we saw the shift, almost like not really the next generation, but like the update in standard for what is considered a base airsoft.
Yeah, that's around the time when I like first started working for GI in 2017. When it's kind of funny because
2016.
No, I've been working for GI since 2017.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, so I started like literally got to witness the change in standard from what a beginner player can expect. Because for when I first started, it was very much like the standard like Reddit information that you would get off of like forum. It was like, that's fairly accurate, right?
Yeah.
So like now it's like, oh no, like things are definitely changing. We saw that with guns like Classic Army with their skirmish lineup.
Yep.
That was actually even before the Gen 2s. I remember the skirmish specifically.
Was it? No.
I think they might have been around the same time, but I remember specifically seeing more of the skirmish series come out, especially to the walk-in store.
Because I remember doing the torture test video of the Lancer Tactical Gen 2s first, and then we did a torture test video of the Classic Army skirmish.
Yeah.
So I do remember that happening after, but I think you are right. It did get dropped around the same time, and I think just a matter of the shipping.
Yeah, what was available to us.
Yeah, like how long did it take for us to get yada yada.
Bear in mind, again, guys, I don't remember if I told you, but my first day at GI was basically a sale day.
You were customer service before that sale.
No. To storefront.
Oh, first day to storefront. Yeah. Yeah, that's hilarious.
It was like, all right, cool, training. Go ahead and make a sale. Oh, shoot. All right, well, cool.
Yeah, no, but like, I love to see that companies are still, working and trying to keep airsoft guns affordable, especially in 2023. Like what we said, the combat machine is now like really, how do I phrase this? It is like a harder sell. Yeah, so the G&G combat machine is a bit of a harder sell now.
Yeah.
Because it being around the $220 to $230 price range for the gun by itself, there are other options out there.
Yeah.
Like you could get a Lancer Tactical Gen 2 with a battery charger for maybe $20 to even $40 cheaper than that. Or you can, for the same amount of money, you can get a Lancer Tactical Gen 3 that has a better ETU, or not even, has an ETU, because the standard combat machine doesn't even have any fancy electronics.
Doesn't have anything. It's just basic jerk contacts.
No, that's actually really crazy though too, because I think Lancer Tactical might have been the first to push the progress of the quote unquote beginner airsoft gun.
I think if we're thinking back even further, again, bear in mind, this is all like conjecture, just from like our own personal experience and our own memories.
Yeah.
But if I remember correctly, I think one of the first times I ever remember seeing a gun with pre-installed ETU that wasn't like the most expensive thing was actually the Ares Amoeba series.
Yes.
Because they have a programmable MOSFET or a programmable ETU as well. Theirs, however, you required, if I remember correctly, a separate programming module that you had to buy separate in order to actually program it.
Yes, that is true, which I do have, because I have a Honey Badger and I had to buy that unit.
Yes.
And you had to, and what sucked about it is you had to use that module to change the settings on the gun, even for the battery. So if you wanted to run in 11.1, you had to set it to either 11.1 or 7.4.
I see.
And if it was set to 7.4 when you were using 11.1, you could burn out the MOSFET.
Oh, yeah.
And if you set it to an 11.1 trying to use the 7.4 battery, it just wouldn't really run properly. Yeah, it was terrible. No, it was pretty bad. But I would know, like there were a lot of companies that did make changes to their airsoft guns that kind of changed the standard for airsoft in a whole. But Lancer Tactical, when they released the Gen 2 line, obviously we know about the Gen 1s, how much of a flop they were. That was, at the time, a really viable option for people who wanted to spend under $100 toward an airsoft gun that could get them onto the airsoft field. Would it make them very competitive? Yes and no. It depends on the
player, Like, because if anything, like, again, I've always been a friend. You saying same thing, right? Where it's like, it depends on the person itself. If you're a good player, no matter what you're given, you'll be able to get a few kills. Now, will I say that it's like gonna be the most competitive on the field or the highest performing gun out there?
No.
I'd probably say no.
No. But with the Lancer Tactical Gen 2 coming out at the price point of around the $150 mark, even now, just getting the gun, being able to get the gun by itself for $150 comes with a Type 1 inner barrel, a rotary stop unit, and a quick change spring system. Those three alone at the $150 price point is ridiculous, because at that time, airsoft guns, even high-end airsoft guns, weren't coming with Type 1 inner barrels.
No.
They might come with a rotary stop hop-up unit, but some of them didn't even have a quick change spring system, a true quick change spring system.
I mean, granted, like, obviously being able to take the gearbox out of the body kind of sucks, but I mean, it is better than having to fully disassemble. But yeah, the fact that this came with all the Gen 2s, came included with a properly true quick change spring system, which 5 minutes, maybe 10 minutes tops to go ahead and do yourself, right? Like, that's very convenient. And for 150, that's pretty good. I'm okay with the fact that it didn't come included with battery and charger.
Yeah.
We do have to kind of mention that too, because like, when the Gen 2s originally came out, they were like, I think I remember some of them being at the 140, 150 price mark. And they went up to, I think the most expensive one was 200. Right?
Yes. It was for one of the fancier, like, key mod or M-Lock rail systems.
One of the longer ones, more material. Kind of makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Like, but, you know, they have also, again, unfortunately, every brand, Lancer included, has also suffered from the, from price increases, again, just due to inflation, just like everyone else. But, you know, this whole core series really does kind of solve that problem, because again, they are going to have to make sacrifices, but I'm glad that that's the only thing that they took away was just the battery and charger.
I was just about to say, I was like, there were no other sacrifices for them. I was aware.
No, like, it's
just the battery and charger not being.
Because I mean, you got to think about it too from manufacturers' end, right? Like, if you want to go ahead and supply customers with an airsoft gun, right, and still maintain a cheaper price point, you're gonna have to go ahead and like, all right, where can we cut costs, right? I mean, let's get into it, right? Like, it's, as a manufacturer or as a business, you try to make as much money as you possibly can. You don't want to manufacture something like, you know, the MG4 Mark II, for example, right, and then charge only like what, I don't know, $100 for it.
Yeah, and make nothing.
And you are literally making nothing. You are losing money, quite literally at
Yeah.
that point. You have to be able to go ahead and make up for the cost of manufacturing, the
Mhm.
cost of the material itself,
the cost of the
the
labor.
cost of labor,
Yep.
right? So you have to come up with a price point that's
Shipping, all
gonna,
of that.
yeah. And obviously, like percentages of how much a company can make off a gun is gonna change model to model, right? You always gotta try to find that sweet spot. But whenever you're trying to make a gun more affordable, there has to be something that you have. Okay, it's not going to have this or it's not going to have this, right? You do have to kind of make those sacrifices. If it was up to manufacturers and up to us, right, in an ideal world, we would be getting everything that you wanted in one airsoft gun
Yeah.
under, or maybe for free, right? If we're going to do that for free, basically, right?
Yeah.
But
in a perfect world.
in a perfect world, right? But that's not going to happen. So we have to go ahead and make things as affordable and as alluring as possible while still giving you a quality item. So I'm glad that because they had to go ahead and make a sacrifice, I'm glad it was just the battery and charger.
Yeah. We'll see. Okay, so what would you say? What would you think is a reasonable budget to get started into airsoft in 2023? Right.
In 2023, I say the same thing to all my customers that come in store. The budget that you want to have ideally would be anywhere from about 150 to about 250.
Okay.
And I feel like for the most, again, everyone's financial situation is going to be different. And I try to work with customers, of course. If they can't afford 150, then I will try to find them something that's good, like under $100. If they even say, I only have $100 max that I can spend.
Yeah.
Your options, and I'll tell them, your options are going to be limited, and there are going to be a lot of downsides with a lot of the options that you will see. However, we can always recommend you something good. Honestly, if a customer has a budget of under $100, you already know what I'm going to say. Bring shotguns, baby.
Yeah.
Bring
Oh,
shotguns.
absolutely. So I would agree to that. I would probably increase the base amount though. For nowadays, I'd probably say like $200 to $250 is a good budget for you to get into airsoft, be competitively. So I'm thinking just like bare bones, face protection, airsoft gun.
Oh, I was thinking about just buy the airsoft gun by itself.
Oh, you're thinking just the gun.
Yeah.
I'm thinking like maximizing someone's budget. Right?
Okay.
So getting an airsoft gun, BBs, the battery charger, and a face mask. And I think $250 is very, very easily you could do that, because good face protection you can get anywhere from $20 to $40.
Hell, even some of the goggles that we sell, like full seal goggles, you can get them for less than $20. Even.
Yeah, exactly. Depending on your field, you may or may not need lower face protection, but, or if you get like a full paintball mask, those ones go for about $20-ish also. And then an airsoft gun, like if we were to go for a regular Lancer Tactical Gen 2 airsoft gun that comes with the battery and charger, that'll go anywhere from like 160 to like 210, give or take. So, and then a bag of BBs for a day would be like 10-ish bucks, 10 to 15-ish bucks. So depending on what you get, like for me, now that Lancer Tactical has the core series, I honestly really like that it doesn't come with the battery and charger, and it's more affordable, because like $150 for the base gun. So if the package that you were to have gotten was going to be $190 for the battery and charger that come with the gun, now that opens up that budget for you to invest into a better battery to maximize the performance.
And
of
a
the
smart
airsoft.
charger, so you can actually properly charge without having to guess. So it's a timer.
Yeah, that increases the life of the battery as well. Because when you use a standard charger, it slowly is killing it. Especially if you're not careful and you're not monitoring it, it will burn the cells.
We're doing the thing that every new player, no offense to new players, but like, because I've done it too, man. And you just like, the first time you get a battery, it's like, oh, I'm just gonna leave it overnight so it's fully charged. Like, no.
And I get the convenience of that though.
Yeah.
But no, so like $150 for a core series, right? We'll say, let's go $50 for a decent battery and charger.
Sure.
Right? So at $250, you have $50 left over. Again, a bag of BBs for...
So a bag of BBs, you can get like 5,000 rounds for like $12-15.
Yeah, exactly. And then the face protection, you're set. Especially if you take advantage of different coupon codes or promos. Like that, if you order online, that definitely qualifies for free shipping.
Yeah, anything 170 or above, it's going to qualify for free shipping.
Yeah, we have coupon code 20 that'll save you 10% off all of that. So it'll increase your budget even more, or allow you to play around or save a little bit of money, whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
But you can easily get into that. So for starting off in airsoft, when people say it's too expensive nowadays, I call bullshit.
I mean, I can understand that though to an extent, because again, like maybe some people go into it, right? Like, and I'm gonna be a little more sympathetic, like to I guess a lot of these customers, because again, everyone has different financial situations, everyone has different priorities, right? But if they really want to try airsoft, it can be frustrating that again, you know, even us, like we're kind of guilty of this too. We show off a lot of these like really cool guns, like right, like the MG4 Mark II, right? We show off like how cool it is, and we're like constantly mentioning, because again, it is a really banging airsoft gun, right? And it shoots so fast, trigger response is so nice, so accurate. But, you know, it is going to have a higher price point of $315. So I can understand why some players or people, potential players, want to get into the hobby a little bit frustrated because they're like, oh, I really want the cool stuff, or I really want the nice higher end performing stuff.
I think that might be because they are a little bit closed-minded in, hey, I found this one thing that's really cool and I'm set on it, but that in particular is too expensive for me, and I'm not willing to settle for a more affordable option that will get me on the field.
I can kind of understand that. It is kind of like, I will say it is frustrating because I do get the customer's perspective as well. Like again, I'm okay with like even again your standard Gen 2, right, like this core series. I would be, if I got this for Christmas, right, even now, I'd actually be very happy with it. Because first and foremost, right, like guns like this are using a standard V2 gearbox, so you can put any fucking upgrade you want into this bitch, right? And turn it into whatever style of play that's gonna, or any style of build that's gonna complement your play style. But, you know, I can understand why, because I was in that position too, right, for many years, right? Where I really wanted to invest more and more in airsoft, but I didn't have the means for that. I was paying for school. I was having to fucking buy textbooks, right? Most of my money went to groceries, having to, you know, save up for all that shit, and I couldn't spend a dime on airsoft, right? Let alone even play. So like I would see all these guns coming out, right? And I'm like, oh, these guns look so cool. Like, especially if it's a gun that I think is like really cool to me, but they just don't make it for like an affordable version of that.
There's not like a quote unquote competition version.
And I was okay with like, you know, being flexible. But again, a lot of the features that I really liked and the performance spec that I thought were really dope, you just couldn't really afford at that budget. So I can kind of understand why customers would be a little frustrated and say stuff like airsoft is too expensive. I get what you're saying, but I also think, like, again, customers do have a point that a lot of these high performance guns, especially again, guns like the MG4 Mark II, I mean, who wouldn't want this gun, right? It's not going to be like, you know, $150 for sure.
So this is pretty loaded because, you know, I was in that scenario as well. You know, I was in that situation where I couldn't get the quote unquote dream airsoft gun, or like the flashiest, the coolest.
What was it for
high performance?
When you were getting into it, what was like the gun that you would like look at, like, oh, one day?
Man, there's quite a few.
Right, there's a few.
But it's funny because I now all own them all. Majority of them.
Started from the bottom right here, man.
Yeah, but one gun that, like, one brand specifically that I was like really just like really impressed with because of the out of the box performance, and I didn't have to do this wide set of upgrades, was like the KWA M-Force.
Yeah, that's solid.
And those at the time were retailing for like $350-ish bucks. Had a 2-piece hop-up unit.
I remember there was a few that were like under 200 or.
Oh, those were the all plastic.
Yeah, those are the all plastic ones though. Yeah, everyone wanted the full metal ones.
Oh yeah, of course. Like what's cool about like those plastic KWA guns is that they were still using KWA gearboxes, which gave you the performance. You just didn't have that external like durability. It was very
they made more money.
No, yeah, especially because like videos that you see KWA like being put through the ringer, like it being like slammed on the ground and it's still like alive. I'm just like, wow, that's really
cool.
Yeah. So it's one of those things like well, for the like even for full metal airsoft guns nowadays, I would say it hasn't really changed.
Okay, so you think that it's basically stayed the same? I don't know. To an extent, I actually would agree with you.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of the high-end guns that were like $300 are still, like, even back then, right, are still kind of in the, I mean, I think a lot of them have increased their price point.
Yes, but they're still within like the $300 to $400-ish range. Like, back when I started airsoft, like, full metal airsoft guns were like the caveat. They were like, oh, I want that full metal realistic weight type nonsense, which it's funny that it's kind of shifted. Like, I want my gun lighter.
It's again, guys, this is a very different time we're referring to.
Yeah, but even during this time, like when full metal airsoft guns were like $300-ish bucks, you were getting bare bones internals.
Yeah.
Like not really, I can't even say not really, just not
You know, it's one brand.
optimal performance.
You know, it's one brand. Like I think older when we were playing that was like, yeah, it was cool because like it didn't really banked on the fact that it was full metal. Classic Armies. The original Classic Armies.
Oh, dude, old Classic Armies were known for having like solid external build.
Yeah.
And then you gut it the moment you.
Yeah, and they would just put a TM gearbox in there.
Yeah, you build it out. Well, even TM, the plastic TM guns that you would find online from overseas were still retailing for like $300. By the time it got out here, they'd be like 400-ish bucks or so. Even now, like some TM guns. Just because of importing and the inflation, they're like the rifles start off at like $500 bucks.
Or if we're talking about like MWSs or recoil shocks, yeah.
Yeah, like well, what's a? Oh no, I mean, there are the bolt action type rifles that are honestly still quite expensive as well.
Yeah, like 300, 400.
Yeah, like at that point, like a VSR 10.
Honestly, if I'm gonna go VSR 10, I'm gonna go double barrel.
Yeah, do double bell or the Classic Army SR40.
Yep.
For old heads that know about the GG Bar 10, honestly, I think nowadays that's still expensive.
Oh yeah.
Because back then the JG Bar 10 was like, hey, you can't afford Tokyo Marui, get the JG Bar 10, you can easily upgrade it, and it's only $130.
I would say it's still, even though it's like gone up to like, last I checked it was like 160, 170.
Yeah.
Honestly, I will still, obviously I'm not the biggest like JG Bar 10 fan, right? Because obviously like I don't got no dog in this fight because I don't do sniper rifles. But to their defense, that actually is still within what I would consider a beginner budget.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. But I mean, sniper rifles is a whole other topic.
That's a whole other fucking rabbit hole.
Yeah, that is. That's not a rabbit hole. That's a hole. That's a big hole.
Shia LaBeouf dug that hole.
Yeah, but just seeing like for high-end airsoft guns, like the MGC4 Mark II. This is an airsoft gun that we like really worked in detail with the manufacturer, with the community to build an airsoft gun that performs at this level and try to keep the cost down as much as possible, right? At $315, this like outperforms a lot of full metal airsoft guns and beating them in price point as well. Like, not to throw shade or anything, but the KWA, the SR10,
yes,
or the SR7 from back in the day, those used to retail for $330. I think are now like $380-ish bucks, if they're even available anymore.
Yeah.
And I would say, in terms of features, the Mark II has a beat because it has the ETU, has a quick change spring system, has the rotary style hop up unit, and then in terms of performance, I'd say the trigger response is better. KWA is known for having fantastic internals though, so I think it might be on par in terms of rate of fire. But then comparing the Mark II again to another, like other full metal, like high-end airsoft guns, like the BCM MCMR,
VFC.
or the VFC like Avalon series, or like Crytek, they don't have programmable MOSFETs. They do have quick change spring systems, but they're not true quick change spring systems where you don't have to remove the gearbox from the receiver. And then in terms of trigger response and rate of fire, it's outperforming it. Like the Mark II is outperforming them. Even if it's marginally, it's still outperforming it, especially at the price difference. Like a Crytek CRB Mark II, the Trident series, I think retails for $360, right? And then a VFC Avalon or a BCM MCMR, those ones are retailing anywhere from like
$400 to $500.
Yeah, $400 to $500 versus the Mark II. Now, granted, there is going to be the different factories, different materials and stuff, but we tried to play the balance out of it. And what you get with some other brands is their reputation. You're kind of paying for the reputation, or like there are some guns that have officially license,
official license. I feel like that makes sense, right? Because again, you can't just be making copyright free airsoft guns, right? Or be able to make something and be like, oh yeah, copyright free. No, obviously.
What are you talking about? This is my 614.
Okay.
This is my Bolt. Oh no, this is
my 461.
Yeah.
UMP, what's that? This is my pump. PUM. PUM 54. But no, licensing makes sense, right? To an extent. like I understand like it costs money to be able to go to make a replica of certain brands, HK,
Yep.
right, Glock, Elite Force owning the rights to both of those, right?
Yeah, oh yeah.
That makes sense why it would go and be a little bit more expensive. But one of the things I actually have heard a lot of is, hey, at a price point of like $300 something, right? Because normally for us, usually guns over the $200 price point will typically not come included with a battery and charger.
Yes.
Obviously, there are some brands like that break exception, Echo One. They actually will still include a battery and charger in some guns in the $200 price point.
See,
I'm not saying they're good, but
throw shade at Echo One a little bit. Those guns that are now over $300 used to be under.
Yeah, they used to be under.
So
everyone's a little guilty about this. Don't worry, everyone's a little guilty.
Take that with a grain of salt.
One thing I would say though is that like a lot of customers will also complain though, saying that hey, at that price point, couldn't they have at least included just like if it's not the best battery charger in the world and it didn't cost that much, why not just throw that in there?
See, but at the end of the
I'm not saying I'm agreeing with them. I'm just like that is something I have heard.
No, I have thought about that too. It depends on who the market is
intended for.
What the gun is intended for in the market, like because like what you said, there are a lot of high-end airsoft guns that don't come with batteries and chargers because that is going to be an added cost onto the gun. And if it's like a really shitty battery and charger for a high-end airsoft gun, why would I bother trying to include that and add additional cost to the gun when I could just exclude it and let the customer pick the battery that would work best for them, right? They have the option to do that, which is the way that I've always seen it. But I do understand that for airsoft guns that do come with batteries and chargers, they're geared toward the player who's like
maybe just getting into it, right?
Yeah, or like doesn't have a lot, like they're already starting airsoft, and maybe they have, or actually this is the way that I really saw it. Like say I have an M4 and I want to get an 8K.
Yeah.
The battery from my M4 probably won't work in my 8K.
Probably not.
Right?
Not unless the AK itself is like rear wired in the stock, and
Yeah.
instead of like the most common option being on top of the gearbox and the dust cover.
Yeah, exactly. So you're gonna, like, I saw that as like, okay, it's coming with the battery, so I don't need to worry about that. It's adding value to the customer. And even if it may be anywhere from like $15 to a $30 increase for the battery and charger, even though it's a shitty battery and a shitty charger, it's something that gets the gun going from purchase, right? So it's definitely one of those things that a company has to consider, like if they want to throw in that value. On top of that, more than likely, I'm actually not sure about this, but it could be that the battery itself isn't made at the same factory where the airsoft gun is made. So they have to purchase the batteries or get them made somewhere, then bring them over to the factory where the guns are getting made, and then make sure they're all packaged together properly, adding cost of delivery and time and the manpower to get everything packed.
Sure.
So it could just be like unforeseen things that we're not really thinking about. Like it's not just as easy as we're an airsoft gun factory. There are batteries right over here. Let's just
grab them. There's not. First of all, there's not too many like.
You think these come out of a rail hole? You think these get packaged by themselves?
These grow on trees, man. Batteries just grow on trees, dude. No, but like I do kind of understand the frustrations of customers as well, right? Like especially maybe not a battery and charger, but I will notice that there are a lot of brands when I compare brands to brands, right? Like they might not always come included with maybe not just a battery and charger, but even like a foregrip of some kind.
Oh yeah.
Maybe like a speed loader. Extra magazine. I always appreciate whenever a company is able to throw in a little bit more extras in the packaging, just again make me feel like okay, I'm getting good value out of this.
Oh yeah, no,
like,
for sure.
I know Arcturus, some of their guns, they will like just one example. Arcturus on a lot of their AKs and even some of their M4s, they will come included with 2 magazines.
Yep.
Right, which is always super appreciated.
Their full metal M4s come with 2 magazines.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is really cool.
And their full metal ones are like gonna be at that $300 price point. But again, it does feel like I'm getting a good value at the very least, because again, I'm getting more than just 1 magazine, right?
Yeah.
I think that a lot of companies could learn from that and start offering a little more value inside of their package. I understand that it might increase the price slightly, but if we're talking like not even batteries and chargers, we're talking like smaller items like magazines, maybe foregrips, maybe speed loaders, right? That'll help out a lot, because I do get kind of annoyed, and I'm gonna throw shade at Lance for this one. I know that on a lot of their Pro Line series, they will not come included with a mid cap. Alright, they'll not come included with a speed loader for their mid cap, even though
that does bug me.
That right?
Like, okay, like hey, you give me a mid cap.
Give me the fucking speed loader.
Give me the fucking speed loader.
Because like, okay, can you imagine? If
I know how much they cost, bro. You fucking throw that in.
It's a few cents more, man. I know how much it fucking costs to make this.
Maybe like $1 US.
Yeah, fucking whatever. Like, I'm pretty sure most guys wouldn't complain about a fucking dollar, right? Like,
yeah.
Because again, you gotta think too, as a newer player who may not know everything, they buy and they have a little more money. They're like, oh, I can afford this hybrid series, right?
Yeah.
Or I can afford this Pro Line series. I want the full metal, right? I know what I'm gonna get maybe an ETU as well thrown in there, but it's still affordable. I'll go out and get it. And then they get the packaging and they're like, how the fuck do I load the magazine? Right? Are you telling me that I spent this much money and now I gotta buy an additional tool? It's almost like, to them, obviously it's not, but to the customer's perspective, it can look like they're being punished for going with something nicer by spending more money.
I understand that.
Not saying I agree with it, but no, I get it.
No, yeah, I understand it as well, but what the customer doesn't see is I think that when Lance Tactical made the hybrid series or made the Pro Line series,
different intention, not for beginners.
Yeah, exactly. They made it for like, okay, we want to make a good gun that an existing airsofter that knows what they're doing, knows how to play, can get the maximum experience and save them a little bit of cost, which honestly, I think might have been just an oversight. They might have been thinking, how can I provide as much value in terms of performance without having to increase the price with extra additional stuff?
Yeah.
But the extra few bucks it would have taken to throw in the speed loader into the goddamn box could have just saved a whole bunch of headache and the criticism that they're getting now, Lancer. Well, anyways.
Because again, how much, like really, like a whole $1 more just for like a speed loader, that's fine. Like that's totally acceptable and everyone would have been super appreciative of it. Because I remember getting a few complaints when that happened. Yeah. Where I was like online being like, oh, I don't know how to load my magazine. And it's like, oh, what gun did you get? And we look it up, it's like,
I'm sorry, man, you gotta buy one.
And then you gotta buy one, right? And then to a customer, it looks like, why didn't they just include it? And honestly, that's a very fair point. That's a valid complaint, honestly.
See, what does suck is that when the customer thinks we didn't include it.
Oh no,
we were the manufacturer.
Like we're not Lancer, we're not the manufacturer.
We didn't make it. We just
we're not
sell
G&G,
it.
we're not KWA.
Yeah.
We're just a retailer.
Yeah, we sell their products, and whatever they include out of the box, their products is what they get. But I do understand that. Like, this is such.
I guess that's kind of like the big question that kind of leads into it, right? Do you think Airsoft overall, like Airsoft guns, buying it and getting into the hobby, the amount of money that you would spend, do you think it's too expensive?
That is...
Considering the cost of everything, right? We're talking the gun itself, the gear that you might need, obviously depends on the person, how much gear you want to really rock.
Yep.
Do you think the cost of all of that combined is too much? Like if you really take a step back, like obviously we know because we're in the Airsoft scene, right? We've been playing for so long. But do you think Airsoft as a whole is too expensive?
So, I talked about it a little bit earlier about like an actual starting budget.
Yeah.
So I don't think getting started in Airsoft specifically is very, very different from when it was back in like 2010 to 2015, right? I would say that starting budget is about the same, but you're going very bare bones. Like gun, face protection, BBs, battery, go, right? Okay. But if we were talking to the full extent of getting accessories, gear, extra mags, all this other things, honestly, I might have to play devil's advocate and say it might be a little bit more affordable.
Okay, interesting, because I feel like I'm gonna say yes, but depends on what you intend to do with it. Because remember, there's more than one way to go ahead and enjoy the Airsoft hobby or the Airsoft, like...
Oh, yes.
The Airsoft hobby, right? Boaz and I talked about this too, that while a lot of us are Airsoft players when we go onto the fields, there still is to this day a very significant portion of the Airsoft community that doesn't even play. There's a huge amount of Airsofters that actually just will buy the gun, right? Maybe whatever's needed to get it to, go, or like to actually function, and that's about it. They'll just play targets in their backyard, shoot cans.
Yeah.
There's a huge portion of Airsofters that still do that, and don't really have an intention of actually going to a field.
No, yeah, I do understand that, and I see that a lot as well, where people are just like, I want to get an anchor gun to plink around with, have fun, and not really go play, and that's completely cool. But I mean, that would be also depending on what you want the gun to do as well. Because depending on, like, if you're a backyard plinker or just a target shooter, whatever the base gun is going to be will dictate your overall cost, right? Because if you just want to get like a basic airsoft gun to shoot around, and let's say like you already have like some type of protective goggles, like some like hardware or not shooting glasses, but hardware safety glasses that are ANSI rated, that could lower your cost, because then you're only paying for BBs, the gun, and the battery. Yeah, exactly. So if you were to go for the AEG route, I'd say around 180-ish bucks, you'll be good to just start backyard plinking.
Yeah.
Right. But again, getting competitive, I would push it up to like 250. It is possible to be very, very, like if you budget right and you find the right deals and stuff for you, you could start airsoft at 180-ish bucks.
Yeah, and I feel like too, it also depends. I feel like a lot of people, and the one thing I will bring up as well, we haven't talked about, it's also like just false information that's out there. Like I've seen a lot of stuff in like airsoft like forums and a lot of stuff that I've seen like videos, and just maybe just people misunderstand something. But you know, a lot of people will see these really cool, like again, because most people will go on YouTube for a lot of the information regarding airsoft. We've seen it before. A lot of people go on YouTube specifically for airsoft info, right?
Oh yeah.
When we see that, you know, as a newer player or potential new player, a new viewer, someone who has no idea what airsoft is and they start getting into it, they start seeing all these videos, right? And what do they see? They're either going to see one of two things: either a speak-to-beast like tournament, right, where you're seeing guys in like full decked out like dye masks, maybe like speak-to-be branded gear or whatever, right? Or you're watching like these huge outdoor events, right? Maybe even a milsim event, where everyone's like fully kitted out with like camos or whatever, like BDUs or combat tops and uniforms, and then plate carriers, or chest rigs, full helmet setups, comms. You know, obviously depending on the video and the content they see. Some people could start looking into like, oh, he's playing with that, so I need to get this stuff too, and they start adding up the cost. You know what I mean? Like, and because no one's saying, hey, you don't need. You'll almost never find outside of our channel, you'll never really find too many people saying, hey, you don't really need all that really to get started playing.
Yeah.
Like what I've noticed is that you'll see a lot of people saying, hey, get this, which I get it, right? That's their job as an influencer, to get people to spend money.
They could be getting paid by a specific brand.
Exactly.
Product.
And don't get us wrong, like we're a business too, but we're gonna be honest with you guys. We've always been like transparent about it. We try to get you in playing airsoft. More importantly, you can worry about all the other stuff later on in life. You don't really have to worry about stuff now. And to be honest, you don't need that much stuff really to get playing. So if you go in with that mindset, like airsoft is not too expensive to really get into.
Yeah, of course. But at the same time, like us as airsofters, it can be very challenging, is what I'll say, to get a loadout that we are happy with. Now, actually, this should be a challenge for us where we go high cap magazine, gun, and face protection, no chest rig.
I want to play a full game like
maybe an extra high cap magazine in the pocket, like bare bones.
That's bring back memories, dude.
Absolutely. like you go in the hoodie to protect yourself.
Fuck the hoodie.
No, actually, I'd probably do the same. No hoodie.
No, like why? Like I'm so used to it at this point. What's gonna happen? I'm gonna get shot.
Oh yeah, I mean, that's the fear of like a lot of like start airsofters. They want to try to like lessen the pain that they're gonna feel.
The first day that I remember playing, I actually tried that. I was like, I'm gonna wear like long sleeve. I'm gonna go all the way, right? Or sometimes I would just try to wear the hoodie, right? Normally I like to fold my sleeves up whenever I'm wearing like a shirt or like a jacket, right? Even if it's cold, I'll roll up my sleeves. My upper body usually gets really hot. But I remember they're like, no, I need to protect everything. After the first round, I was like, fuck this. I took off everything outside of like my regular shirt and like my chest rig, and I was like, all right, that's it. Like, I'm not gonna
go.
Like, I mean, why? It's like it's gonna like sting regardless, right? And I'm just burning at this point. I'm melting out in the sun.
Yeah. So I mean, it's crazy because when we say like getting started in airsoft, it's very individualized to the person and what their budget is and what they want, right? Because if someone comes in like, I want the best of the best, no budget, like money isn't an object, I can get anything that I want, he could easily spend over $1,000.
Oh yeah,
very easily.
Not that like we at GI like try to get you to spend that exact amount. Like because again, like we're would be really shitty of us if like someone came in like that, because I've had to do with that too. Someone comes in and is like, I don't really have much of a budget. I'll still let them know like what they're getting for the money and what the different budgets typically what you'll get out of the box. Because that's just like, again, as a sales rep, I want to make sure that my customers are informed and that they know exactly what they're getting. Because again, I sell them this gun, I say this is the best one, you have to go with this one, right? They end up spending that money. Who's saying that they actually really wanted to spend that? Just because they can doesn't mean they always want to.
Valid.
You know what I mean?
And I do that too, where I want to show newer players their options. Like I want to make sure that they're informed and they know what to look out for. Even when I'm not around, if they decide to go somewhere else, I want to give them the knowledge to equip them to making future decisions for themselves, right?
Yeah, like that actually happened. Like I had like funny story. Like a customer came in, I think like 3 or 4 months ago, right? And this was a customer that he was completely new to Airsoft, right? He had seen a few videos, and I think he had played like doing the rental stuff like once, and he's like, all right, I know I want to play. We're gonna play mostly outdoors, and he's like, I have a budget of, I can spend like about $3K, and I was like, well, you don't have to. I always said, you don't have to spend that much. You can get something good. And I told him, he's like, I don't mind spending that much. And I told him, like, if we can get to that point, give me a moment. Let me go ahead and start like explaining like what you can get all out of all the different like budgets, right? He's like, all right. So he listened to everything. I explained like all the different like nuances, right? What are the things that you can get out of the box with the price budget of this? What can you get out of the box with this? What would you want to pick up as well in addition to this? What is probably the smartest investment you want to make for Airsoft, right? Because it's all an investment at the end of the day, especially if you're starting off. And he was like, you know what? I really appreciate the fact that you actually took the time to explain everything to me. That I honestly, he's like, I feel a lot smarter now knowing about Airsoft, like what I'm actually going to be getting. He's like, and honestly, I'm gonna take your information. And anytime anyone asks like what they want from, or what if they want to start getting into Airsoft, I'm gonna recommend the store. And I'm like, all right, cool, man, much appreciated. He's like, but with that said, I still want to buy the stupidest thing. How much? And he's like, and he looked at me, he's like, how much is that guy? And he pointed at the M133 mini Vulcan.
That's amazing.
And I sold it to him. Yeah,
that's great.
But like, hey, like
hey, there are people that want it.
Exactly, and there are people that do have the means for that, right? Yeah. Like, and if that's the case, man, good on you, right?
Yeah. If you already have something set in mind, like what we talked about earlier, if you have the means to go for that, by all means. At the end of the day, that's gonna be the gun that makes you happy.
Yeah.
Right. Because when I started Airsoft, unfortunately this is one of those you have to learn the hard way type things. Even like. So I tell people, even if the gun that they recommend is something that I know personally won't work that well, and I'll give them the warning of that. But like, if this is the gun that you want at the end of the day, you're already set on it, your heart is set on it, get it.
It's your money at the end of the day. This is what's gonna make you happy, then go for it.
Yeah.
Just bear in mind, and we always put that like sort of caveat at the end, right? Just bear in mind, it's not gonna give you the same performance as say something like this other gun, right, that we recommended, right? Or it's not gonna have a warranty with this gun, right? Or hey,
I do think we try to use our personal like experiences.
Yes,
in Airsoft, what we've learned the hard way, and tell them that.
Don't make the same mistakes we made.
Yeah, you don't have to. We're using our knowledge to help you out. Because when I started Airsoft, I told you like my second Airsoft gun, but my first, what I considered real competitive Airsoft gun was my L96 sniper rifle.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh man, it's gonna be so sick. I'm gonna hit headshots from across the field, yada yada. No. I learned the first game. It wasn't like, and it's funny because like from when I got the gun, from when I actually played, there was a good few months because at the time I was still in high school. I didn't have a lot of money. I blew a whole, like all my money saved up on that sniper rifle, and then it took me a few months to like get money to like actually like be able to go play with some friends and stuff. So when I finally got out, I was like, oh, man, everyone's just. And at that time, full auto was real.
Yeah.
Full auto was allowed, and I was like, oh man, I'm getting out.
The Wild West of Airsoft, man.
I'm getting outgunned, like, because at that time as well, I wasn't in the mindset of being a sniper. I was like, I'm running up with the squad, and it's like, yeah, hit, fuck. Like I shoot, I miss, and then I get shot. What the hell is that?
I remember, like, it's funny because you're saying that, oh yeah, you wanted to get close with a sniper rifle, or you're going to be getting like headshots, right? With that, like, it is funny that you mentioned that because I remember it specifically, and I know you're a fan of the Left 4 Dead series. A lot of players that have been playing for a while would use the sniper rifle, basically get up close and personal because it was so powerful.
Yeah.
They would use it essentially as a shotgun.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know. I just imagine in my head like little Cisco as a kid, right, being like, oh, I can use a sniper rifle and it's that strong. I'm going to use that for Airsoft.
I mean, there is the idea of, wow, in real firearms, the sniper rifle is is the most powerful, has the most range. So it's like, oh yeah, well, it's not like that in Airsoft.
It doesn't translate that well.
But when it comes down to it, your budget will be dictated on what you want to get. If you are trying to get started in Airsoft and you are open to suggestion and not fixated on one specific thing, you can easily fit like a decent loadout into a budget of, I'd say, $250 to $300. Like that's with like extra magazines, like a plate carrier, a sling, and everything else that's needed to start Airsoft.
Mm-hmm.
But then if you had a little bit more money, you could dive into the deep end and buy like more expensive gear, which is why I say that the cost of getting a full loadout in Airsoft is a lot more affordable nowadays, because there are companies like Lance Tactical who have their own optics, who have their own tactical gear that's actually like decent.
Yeah.
And like it keeps the cost low for like the average Joe Airsofter.
Yeah.
Versus us, where we like to do impression kits and we kind of like have a very specific way of playing. And that dictates the type of gear that we need, and we need to I need to get this very specialty 249 box mag pouch.
We are very okay. Like this, what we're doing at that point, we are definitely making it harder for ourselves. What we do in terms of like impression kits and stuff is not is not really like required in order to play Airsoft at all. Like it is not. We do it because we think it looks cool, as it adds an element of sort of like cosplay to it. That's the way I play it too.
Oh yeah.
I feel like I'm like definitely like more on the cosplay side of like Airsofting. So even though I do like the milsim stuff, I definitely am more part of like feel like that cosplay portion, or I get that mentality for Airsoft.
I get that too. I mean, Airsoft for me hits quite a few things. Obviously, the sport itself.
Yeah.
Getting the tactical feeling of using an airsoft gun.
Something that looks like a real gun.
Yeah, exactly. And just being like feeling really cool, like I'm in my own movie or video game. And then just the competition aspect of it.
No, I get that.
So at the end of the day, it all depends on the player themselves, on what they expect, what they want, and what is realistically available for them. So Isaiah, with the budget being out of the way, now actually getting to play Airsoft, I would say this is something that has not dramatically increased, but has increased over the years. And depending on where you go or what you're actually doing would dictate the, not experience that you have, but the quality, I guess. Right, because there's the everyday or every weekend fields, right? Depending on the size of the field, will depend on the cost and the field itself.
Also, none of that, like also like the amount of staff they have there as well.
Yeah, that's true too, because they're also a business at the end of the day. They have refs, and they're providing the field on their private land.
They gotta pay their employees. They have to make sure that they maintain the grounds itself. Obviously, some fields require more maintenance than others. But the question is like, is the cost of entry, the cost of playing itself, right? Like the entry into the field, or even cost of tickets for Airsoft events, are they too expensive? And for me, I'm gonna say sometimes, yes, they are. I genuinely do feel that way. Like I feel like they are way too expensive sometimes.
I agree to that. So I would say for events specifically. Now going out to play, that it depends.
Okay, I think this is where we disagree. I think for me, it's not events. For me, it's the cost of entry for some fields.
Really?
Yes.
What?
Okay, so this is why, right? At the end of the day, like I understand why they're gonna do it, and I'm not gonna be up in arms about like the cost of playing at like my favorite like field, right?
Yep.
I play at Wildlands Airsoft. The cost of entry there is $30.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
So $30. If I remember, that's the last time I played. It was $30. It used to be $20, and then it used to be $25. Right?
Yeah. So I do remember back in the day. Wildlands, which used to be known as Jericho, was $20 for entry.
Yeah,
it was $20 for entry, and then I'd say between like 2016 and 2018, it went up to 25, and then stayed at that up until the pandemic, when they were closed for a good period of time.
Yeah,
and then had to increase their prices to 30, to try to make up for it. Not only for that, but again, like the employees, the maintaining the field, they had to spend out of pocket to maintain the field
Yeah.
while they weren't in operation. So it's not just like, hey, I need to sweep up the BBs. More than like they're not doing that.
Yeah.
Or they're doing
Especially
it,
with an outdoor field.
yeah, they're doing it to like a small level of extent, but they need to make sure that like the growth is like the just plants or leaves and stuff isn't like
Yeah, it's not taking over.
devouring the field. They need to make sure that wildlife in their area.
Oh my
isn't-
God. The amount of times that wildland specifically that they've had to shut down the fire base is the name of one of the like maps on there.
Yeah, that's because it's at the edge of the freaking forest. That's there.
You know what's in there, right? Snakes.
Oh yeah,
Rattlesnakes
absolutely.
just constantly. Thank you.
Yeah. No, that's definitely a thing. Was it rattlesnakes or was
It was
it
rattlesnakes.
Oh yes.
It was rattlesnakes that were just around there, just like they saw, like, yeah, there's a rattlesnakes going around because there's rabbits there too. So of course,
Yeah.
snakes are like, yeah, they're like looking for food. They're hungry. Oh, this
I know
thing's
it's
near me.
wobbly.
Oh, there we go. We got it. Nope. Okay, I'll just hold it like this for now.
No, perfectly.
Perfect. We got it. As all things should be.
Yeah, but
Like I just personally think that, like, again,
because it could, like, if you leave, like, especially something that's out away from like civilization, a lot of airsoft fields, well, especially outdoor fields, they need to be away from, like, they can't be like, hey, the mall is right across the street. Like,
I would disagree to that to an extent. Look at Hollywood sports.
Hollywood sports is very interesting though, because they are on a major street,
Mhm.
but the fields themselves are like more set in. They're more contained.
Not only that, they also have, if you guys haven't been, they actually have, like, you know that like sort of like liner material that they have, like that sort of netting
Yes.
for like golf courses.
Mhm.
So basically the same thing.
Yeah.
right? It's like so that way no BBs end up going outside
Yeah.
of the ring.
Well, I wonder though, because I wonder what their insurance is like.
Right? That's
Yeah.
another big question.
Yeah, because like I'm assuming if you are away from civilization
It
or
might
a
be
well-populated area, yeah, it might be a little bit cheaper.
Maybe the reason why they're able to get away with it is, or like be able to like do that in that area is because one, I know for a fact they've used I think they have like several props there from like movies. Maybe I believe that some of the films were
Yeah.
actually shot there.
Yeah,
at Hollywood sports.
I've heard that as well.
Mhm. I know that because they're owned by Giants sports company.
Yep.
Their SC Village is going to be their sister field as well.
Yep.
So maybe they just already had the funds to go and afford the interest. But again, I'm not too sure about that. But
Yeah.
you know, I would say for regular fields, you know, if I'm woo, there we go, got it. It's all good. But it's gonna hold it right there.
Good
So-
thing you hit the plastic with the stop.
Right. So when it comes to like fields, if they're gonna be charging like $30, I feel like they should really start upping their game when it comes to the type of games that you get, upping the type of game scenarios, right? Like if I'm gonna be spending more than $25 on cost of entry, the game modes better be fucking lit. Like they better be fucking good if I'm gonna be spending that much money. Because again,
I understand that.
right? Because like I don't want to have to play the constant team deathmatch, force on force match, right? And then just like, all right, go to the dead box, wait for the next round, all right, do it again. Like even respawn, like if you're doing like 4-man, 5-man respawn, like 4 people in the dead box to get to play out, that's better.
Yeah.
And that's why I go to Wildlands, because I like that rule way more. I get more playtime. But you know, at the same time, I do want to see more of a variation in the game modes that we're playing, and that's why again that kind of comes down to the refs themselves.
Yeah.
But again, I do feel like at the end of the day, that is up to the field owners to really step up their game and be like, hey, you know, our customers are spending $30 to $35 on cost of entry for this field, right? And they're playing for several hours at a time. Let's keep the game modes interesting. No more like force on force. You might do it as a warm-up match,
Yeah.
but throughout the day, we have to do objective game.
Yeah. Or maybe even every other game. Especially
Sure.
because like at Wildlands, for instance, they'll do like the first couple of games as team deathmatch, and then they go into objective-based games for the rest of the day, which I do personally like. But if your field is a little bit smaller and the turnaround of the games are much faster, because at Wildlands they can go easily 45 minutes to an hour per game, right? Versus like SC Village or Hollywood Sports Park, their games are roughly 30 minutes, right? So you're with that in mind, they're gonna have more time to do more games. So maybe, because to the field's credit, how many scenarios are they realistically able to accommodate? Like there are very simple ones like capture the flag.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. Like you can mix it up, right? Just doing a basic like throwing in instead of doing it force on force every other like match, just throwing, hey, let's do capture the flag, right? Like, and I get when I have a lot of friends that are refs as well, and I've heard their like issues that sometimes you do get players depending on the crowd, right? That sometimes they might not they don't want to play the objective. A lot of times you'll get crowds that half the team, like the other side, like one team is playing the objective and the other team is like, all right, I don't really care. Yeah. At that point, like I get why they would not want to do it. They're just like, all right, just force on force.
That's true.
I get why they do that, but my counter argument to that, and no one's really been able to go ahead and give me like a solid response to that, just swap up the teams. Just swap out the players. Right? Like I get it that some players want to come into like, with a group, and I get that, but at the end of the day, the refs have the highest authority there on the field. Yeah. Just make them swap them out.
I do think that is definitely an option. I think it depends on how the field teams are kind of.
Because I look at fields like U.S. Airsoft field, right, that we went to, right? Amazing field, amazing standards. Again, that's all these standards that the owners and the refs wanted to adhere to. They wanted to keep a high standard when it came to their like the type of play that you have. So every game is going to be a completely different objective or a different play style, and I like that.
Absolutely.
And because that does require a little bit more extra work, but honestly, if you're going to be willing to charge your customers more money, you should be putting in more effort. In my honest opinion.
No, I definitely agree with that because, so this is where I was going to say for the team wise, at U.S. Airsoft World, their teams are strict camo patterns and civilians. It's one or the other, right? You won't see any camo guys on blue team, and you won't see any like PMCs on yellow team or whatever the color.
Yeah, we did a BB Wars.
Yeah, but like at SC Village or Wildlands or a lot of other parks where they do tape, I think it's more realistic to switch up the team because it's like, hey, okay, there's 50 guys on red, there's 50 guys on blue. Blue,
the tape.
Yeah, blue is not playing the objective, so we're gonna take half of blue, put them on red, take half of red, put them on blue. Try to keep the groups of friends together so they can play together, or if we're like each other, we're switching teams and gunning for each other.
Yeah, like shooting your friends honestly is a very good experience. If you haven't already tried it, just throwing that out there. Don't take that out of context.
I'm flipping that.
Do it.
And shooting your friends is a very good experience.
I don't always shoot my friends, but when I do, it's very nice.
when I do, I love it.
I love it.
No, I would agree to that actually. If you see a team, I do know that fields will do that if the team is unbalanced.
Oh yeah, that's the thing. Like you're already doing it because the team is like just curb stop if they're a good field, right? If the refs are actually doing their job.
Yeah.
Like if you see that a team is just curb stopping the others, right? Just swap the players. Like I know a lot of you guys can do it. Like it's not that hard. Just swap out like here. You're on this plan. You want to keep playing? All right, you got to be on here. Yeah. Like, how hard is that really? And if they don't want to comply, well, guess what? Kick them out. Like, what? Like, seriously, what's?
Well, yeah, if they're not following the rules,
exactly,
they're being douchebags, then yeah, of course, they're just ruining the experience for all your other patrons.
Exactly. On the field, the refs and the staff are God. They say.
They are the 10 Commandments.
Yes, you do what they tell you to do, right? Like, it's not that hard to go in and just follow the rules.
Yeah, exactly. And I do agree to that. I do think fields should be more attentive and have staff that is really passionate about wanting to make everyone's experience really good.
Yes.
So not only switching up the gameplay, but making sure the teams are well balanced and they are trying to play toward the objective, because we have on many different occasions run into the instance where either the team that we're on or the opposite team only wants to do team deathmatch.
Yes.
And for the fields that where majority of the field, even your team, want to do that, it's really hard to argue as yourself. But if anything, vocalize it at the end of the day. Tell your rep, be like, hey, can we do something other than team deathmatch? Let's switch it up. Can we do capture the flag?
I feel like capture the flag is one of the easiest objectives to do, because it's still team deathmatch, but with just an objective that you can also go with. Right? That's very easy, and it allows for the participation of so many different deathmatch. Because again, team deathmatch really caters to the players that are really competitive, and I get that. I totally understand that, and I can see why in indoor CQB arena, why that would be like the number one choice, right?
Yeah.
I get that. But not every player wants that. Not every player is going to be super competitive. In fact, a lot of the reasons why players go to an outdoor field is because they don't like the competitive side of airsoft, like the indoor scene, right? So going out to play outside is good. Not saying you can't do it. Of course you can.
There's still a layer of competitiveness, but I do understand there are times where I don't care if I win or lose. I'm there to have a good time.
Exactly.
You know, and just enjoy the
I'm having a fantastic time with my fabulous friends in our fabulous costumes, right? That's literally the safety brief, how Josh Warren like does it for Milsim West. He's like, all right, repeat after me. I'm having a fabulous time with my fantastic friends in our fabulous costumes.
That's actually amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, so actually that's the other side of that question, right?
Events.
Events. Do you think events are getting more expensive compared to events that you have been to in the past?
No. I feel like I would have to say a solid no.
Okay, so why no though?
Okay, so when I first started playing Milsim West, because then that's the Milsim organizer that I go to, and that's pretty much the main event airsoft-wise that I mainly participate in. The prices have, for the most part, pretty much stayed the same. They haven't really increased their prices too much, and I feel like that's yeah. Like obviously, the closer you get to the event, they will charge a little bit more.
Yeah.
Right. It makes sense, right?
That's to be expected.
That's to be expected.
It's like even for like concert tickets.
Yeah.
Like if you're buying like tickets to a show at the release date of the tour, like when it was announced, okay, sure, like it's gonna be like much more affordable. But it's like, hey, the concert's next week. You want to go? Tickets are double the price. Because obviously.
Yeah. But like when I pay for my ticket, I know that I'm paying for, again, they have to rent out the venue. It's not like it's one field that they just happen to own, right? It's not like a regular field where it's like, okay, yeah, we own this place. No. They have to rent it out. And renting out locations like that, especially because of like what we're doing, we're playing airsoft. I'm trying to explain that to someone that has no idea what airsoft is, right? Can you imagine how difficult that might be? Right?
I have to rent out this abandoned facility to play
Toy soldiers.
Right?
Like, it's a little rough, right? But it makes sense why you have to spend money.
I think that hit it on the head, actually.
Right?
I think that
that's exactly what it is, right? Like, you have to spend that money to be able to go ahead and rent that location out. Because they all that, Josh Warren, like the company itself, will rent out that money out of pocket. So he has to be able to go ahead and make up for that. So, all right, how am I going to make up for it? I have to charge this much per person. Yeah. Estimated, I'm going to get this many people. I have to charge this much in order to turn a profit, so that way I can rent this off and again continue to do this.
Yeah.
Because if a business is not making a profit, they're not going to go ahead and do it. Even if they're cutting their losses and they're able to like make up for the cost of something just barely, that's not enough to go ahead and continue doing it.
Yeah. No, actually, that makes sense too. From that perspective, if they're not able to meet their projected attendance, they have to try to compensate for the loss of ticket sales.
And even then,
somehow.
They'll have like sales, right, going on where it's like, oh, you get an early bird special, right?
Yep.
Where it's like, hey, you ordered in this time frame. They'll even put it out like, hey, you order in this time frame, it's going to be this much. You order in this time frame, it's going to be more expensive.
Yeah. So with that in mind, because we do BB Wars, we try. Like we don't make anything on BB Wars actually.
Yeah, no. Like if you guys didn't know, we basically make nothing off that.
Yeah, BB Wars are literally just an event for our community.
Yeah.
For any airsofter to participate in, to have a larger
experience, like a larger gameplay experience.
Yeah, exactly. Without the cost or the strict restrictions of a milsim event.
Yeah.
Which is what I really like because it is a larger experience. Airsofters that have been played bigger than a 50v50 type of game see airsoft in a very different way because it's like, especially when it's like the entire field, this corner's busted. They're over there too. It's like, what can I do? Especially when we do throw on some objectives throughout the game, it's like we need to secure that. They're fighting for it, but we can't get it.
You have to work together as a team.
Exactly. Like it adds layers of complexity to the event, and it goes for a little bit longer and provides a very unique experience. Not saying that it's better or worse than other like regular day fields or other like milsim events.
It's a different experience.
Exactly. Like we are catered to like every airsofter, as to where milsim events I would say are catered more toward those experienced seasoned players.
And I would say this, like, because I would even say, like, taking it a step further, like, playing devil's advocate, I would say, and I've told this before on multiple my podcasts, or not podcasts, multiple streams that I've done.
Yep.
I feel like there's this whole, like, we exoticize milsim events so much right? And I get it, right? We see all these videos, and especially we see milsim West videos. It looks so intense. The fact that you're there for essentially 3 days, right? This is nonstop play. I get it, but at the end of the day, and I'll say it again. I go on record. Anyone can do it.
Yes.
Anyone can do it, and it is affordable so long as you have a budget of mind. Like again, kind of like getting started into it, right? Depending on the event, the organizer you're going through, you can do it, and you can still save a lot of money.
Oh, absolutely. Well, I would say, kind of from the outside looking in, it is more. It's viewed as a exclusive type of thing.
Yes, and I hate that
because honestly I hate that too. But I think it's viewed as an exclusive type thing because of the requirements to be on the team. So like, let's say you just started Airsoft a few months ago. You have a gun, you have your plate here, you have your face protection, but you don't have the camo requirement.
That's okay. That's an easy workaround, right? Because I mean, like even us, we sell camos.
Oh no,
Here's the thing: like a lot of people will see that, like, oh, I have to get the real, I have to get cry, like ups and bottoms, right? Like the tops and bottoms, right?
Of course.
And they're like, oh, I have to get that, or I have to go ahead and get like, real LBX plate carrier or LBT plate carrier, and I'm like, dude,
no, you don't.
No, dude, I've seen guys who go in like surplus gear,
right?
Or they'll buy just like even like the Airsoft like camos that we sell, which they're still affordable. Yeah. They're actually still affordable.
Well, actually, one thing that I would say might be the biggest thing for newer players is when they get started in Airsoft that they have the mentality of I want to carry as much ammo as possible, and they only get high caps. Then they have to invest in the mid caps.
That's one thing, yeah.
I mean, I've always been the guy that says just get mid caps. They feed better, they're quieter. You don't have to worry about
Yeah, they're not a tactical maraca.
Yeah, you don't have to do any of that. Just get mid caps, you'll be happier in the long run. And reloading is cool.
Yeah.
So if you do that, if you start Airsoft and you get mid caps instead of high caps starting off, which I didn't do.
Yeah.
I carried like 10 high caps on me.
No, but even then, like we sell mid caps that you can get for cheap, right? Like let's say you wanted to get started into you're a brand new player, right? You just got yourself your first like AR, right? Like you were playing with that. There are guys that will go to the fields and play with it. There you go. Thank you. There are guys that will, even cheaper, right? If you go with like 4 series too, right? Yeah. They'll go off with like their guns that are like completely untuned. Mm-hmm. They're not upgraded. They're just completely stock, but they work fine. They have batteries for them. You can get a pack of mid-cap magazines for like $50.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Even less, right? Because even on our website, you can get like the LT mid-cap high-speed mags.
Yep.
$50. You get a 5-pack. That's literally like all you'll need.
Yeah, well, I will say that if you are considering going to a milsim event, don't go into it thinking that it's going to be a regular weekend walk-on day.
Yeah, no, well,
you have to kind of
depends on the organizer, but
but you really do have to plan it out ahead of time to make sure that you get all the gear that you need and that is required.
Most organizers will have a website as well and say like, hey, here's the like milsim West again. I'm just gonna refer to them because again, for me, that's the golden standard for milsim. And like they make it so easy, right? It's so simple to do it.
Yeah.
They will literally have a tax up, a list of instructions, an instructional user manual, right, for you to use. And it says right there, okay, here's the tax up. Here are all the items highlighted in red that you need to have and that they will be looking for when they do their inspection to make sure that, again, and this is more so for your survival, right?
Yeah.
Again, you're out there for 3 days.
That's exactly what I was gonna say. Because milsim West is like a 70-hour event nonstop.
48.
Oh, 48.
It starts Friday night and then ends Sunday midday.
So technically 2 days, but it's the 48 hours is spent across 3.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that is definitely one of those things where it is more like not restricted, but you do need specific things.
And it's like I'll
to make sure that you are, hydrated, you're eating.
It's food, water for 3 days, pair of socks, like a change of socks.
Oh yes.
And then of course it's going to be like a lot of basics, like okay, do you have your specified camouflage, your clothes?
Yep.
Yes. Okay. Do you have your face mask or your eye protection, your PPE? Yes. Okay. Your airsoft replica, or if you're doing blank fire, you're doing that too. But do you have that with you? Okay. Do you have, I don't know, like they're gonna ask for like, okay, just a basic compass just in case, right? You can get like literally $1 like compass that I bought from like literally just at like the cashier section, right? There's like, oh, compass.
You can buy compasses in a lot of places.
Dude.
Go to your local Big Five or sporting goods
store. Even Target has it,
and they'll have like a paracord bracelet with a compass on it. Just buy
there
that.
There you go. That's all right there. They'll ask for like you to bring like a notebook, but you can get it at like 99-cent store, right? Just to write down intel or piece of information. And honestly, that's about it.
Okay.
Right? Like, because even the clothing, as long as it's the pattern or the color of your team, that's all they care about. They don't care where you got it from. They don't care if it's real, like meant for real steel stuff, right? Like if it's Cry, or if it's like the Airsofting, like brands, right? If you get like a Lancer set, or if you get like Emerson, for example, they don't care. As long as it follows the uniform requirement, that's really all that matters. Same thing with plate carriers and chest rigs. As long as you're comfortable, this is the thing, everyone thinks, oh, I need to get the best stuff. No. Here's the thing we found out when we do a lot of like milsim events, right? It doesn't matter how expensive your gear is, or how nice it may be, or how much influencers love to talk it up. If it can't handle milsim West, it can't handle your comment. Because we put our shit through the ringer, and we find out that a lot of the like Airsoft brand stuff, hey, you know what? It works very well. Sometimes better than the real thing.
That's valid. That's actually very true. Yeah, milsim West is definitely one of those things where, you know, compared to a smaller event like BB Wars, you do need to prepare a little bit more and have more gear, but it's still really attainable. And depending on what your budget is, really dictates like the type of experience that you can have.
And that's what ultimately the reason why those like milsim West tickets, for example, are going to be more expensive, because you're not just paying for one day of play. You're paying for, you know, this 48-hour nonstop experience where the action literally could never stop, or, you know, it can vary like how much depending on the event and what transpires during this scenario. But you are paying for this really immersive experience, right? Exactly. And that's something that
almost like LARPing.
Yeah, you're literally paying for a LARPing.
Yeah,
like a Ren Fair, right? For like nonstop, right? And that's what I like. And I would highly recommend people do it at least, and try it at least once, because it is fun, right? It may not be for you, but it is fun.
See, even though it's an Airsoft event, it's an event with Airsoft in it. That's how I view that. As to where BB Wars, this is an Airsoft event. This is meant for everyone to play Airsoft. As for this one, there's a lot more layers and things that go into it. But all right, guys, thank you for tuning into this episode of the Dead Box. Not
the Dead Box podcast. This is an episode of the Rage Time podcast.
We have so many. I apologize.
No, it's good.
Do you think the cost of Airsoft, or is Airsoft in general expensive? Let us know in the comments below. Again, don't forget, we are running double entries throughout the premiere of this stream, which it is ending soon, so make sure you take advantage of it.
Not only that, make sure you also pick up the Independence Day mystery box, going for only $170 right now, and it is a fantastic mystery box. The price list is absolutely insane. We're talking R15, we're talking Mark 46s, we're talking AKs, right, from the
240W,
the 240W, right? There are so many amazing prizes that you can win at just 160 or 170, and you're going to be getting free shipping, free shipping automatically, and 10 entries in the shopping free giveaway for tomorrow for $1,800.
I don't think we're doing 10 entries.
Never mind. Pretty sure we are. But either way, the mystery box is available right now, and you don't want to miss out because they are moving fast. Make sure to go ahead and pick yours up. And again, coupon codes as well.
Yeah, coupon code 28 will save you 10% off your entire order, except mystery boxes and the shocker deals. But we also have coupon code GEAR for 20% off tactical gear, and coupon code 20BD, that is 20% off accessories like optics, magazines, foregrips, flashlights,
battery chargers,
all that goodness. So you can take advantage. Again, we do try to hook you guys up. So in the topic of, is Airsoft expensive? If you are planning on getting started in Airsoft, or you need some Airsoft goodies, take advantage of all the sales and savings we have, because we're trying to hook you up. And again, enter that $1,800 shopping spree giveaway that's going down Thursday, which is when this video uploads tomorrow.
Yes.
All right, guys, my name is Cisco.
My name is Isaias.
And we'll see you guys in the next one.
Take it easy, guys.
Peace, y'all.